Greetings and welcome back to Smartwatch Ticks. We're taking another look, actually a revisit of the S908 GPS Sport Smartband that Gearbest has provided us, because I want to show you a few more things. First of all, in our initial review, which I encourage you to go watch because that's where you'll learn how this whole device works, we did it under very low lighting, early morning hours. I got some sun outside now. I'm indoors. You see the chime? 9:07 a.m. That's full brightness, folks. So this watch device is totally useless outdoors and almost useless indoors. That said, I don't want that to hinder you of possibly wanting to buy this because you can actually use it practically if you understand how it works. When you look at the other review, you're going to see something like this. If I press this button, that's always the back button, that takes me back to the time page. If I press the top button, I start getting into the sport mode. Now, if I know I'm going to take a walk, I can press that button one more time and go into the walk mode. If I'm going to run with GPS on, you can't see this at all, can you? Sorry, best I can do under the lighting. There's a little GPS icon next to a guy walking or running. If I touch it again, it's climbing with GPS, or bicycling with GPS, or swimming without GPS. So, watch this. I can't see the display, right? I'm outdoors. But I know that if I go from the off mode to the on mode and I press this button one time, I'm here. Now, let's say I want a bicycle. I touch 1, 2, 3, and I'm in cycling. Then I press this once. I go into that mode. It turns on heart rate, and it's ready to begin. I press it again, and I get a long vibration. It said start, and now you see some data on the screen, which if it's outdoors, you won't see at all, but it's actually recording. It's 12 seconds into it, and it's recording the bike ride. I know this because I've memorized the button switches and when I need to press what. Screen's gone black now. If I want to pause it or stop it, I press once. That brings it up. I didn't feel any vibration. I press it again, and I felt a vibration, and now it said stop or pause. Now, if I totally want to stop it, watch this. I press back, which takes me to save it. I press up, that saves it. I press back, that takes me to the sport mode, and I press back again, and I'm back to the time. So let's say I want to run. I have this outside. I can't see the display, right? So I touch the top button. I touch once here to go to run. I touch once here to get to the mode. I touch once more and it starts. Now I go running. When I'm done, I touch bottom, top. I touch top. Top put it into the pause mode. So okay, touch top, then I touch bottom, then I touch top, then I touch bottom, and bottom, and bottom again. And I'm back to time. If you learn that button sequence, think of this as one of those dumb Fitbit things that doesn't even have a display, right? You don't really need the display if you're going to capture that data to send it to the app. What app? Well, that's another reason I'm doing this video again. The H app, right? The H+. That's the app that I showed you this whole thing on and told you it really didn't work because you couldn't sync the band to the app. Well, guess what? A few of you viewers, thank you so much, left comments that I'm using the wrong app. Even though it's the one that's supposed to be for the band, the H+ app is an oldie and a no-goodie. When you search on H+, you come up with there's an H+ watch app. There's the original one I was using, an H+ fitness app. There's an H+ TV technology app. There's even an H+ TW app. What the H+ app am I supposed to use? Turns out, two of them, because neither one is either good. There's the H Plus Fitness, which lets you do healthy exercise with a few different features, most important of which is you can enter your user data. And then there's the H Plus Watch, which is probably the one you're actually going to use because you can actually see the data. And those little squirrely tracks I was telling you that you can't see when the GPS is on, that it wasn't in the watch and it wasn't in the app, in the H Plus Watch app, it is here. Let's take a look. I'm going to go into H Plus Fitness first to show you. Now, this is not tethered. What did you say? It says H Plus Fitness. Interesting. The notifications are working, but not from this app. It's not tethered to this app. But I want to show you down at the bottom, you have a dashboard. You have exercise with different categories. You have your overall settings. It's unbinded right now. There we go, getting too close. And you have user info. In the user info is where you can set your goal and all of your parameters to calculate the BMI and the range for your heart rate for best sport activity. Okay, remember that. That's user info here. And that is the H Plus Fitness. The H Plus Watch has a dashboard, a real-time heart rate, a settings, and user info. You'd think you touch the user info, you'd get the same thing where you can set up the user information, your height, your weight, your age, all of that stuff, but it's not. When you touch this, user info changes to exercise. And all of a sudden, I'm presented with these different maps with different tracks. There's my little squirrely tracks. Now, the interesting thing about this, and we'll just jump into this right now, it has recorded the track and all of its detail, but you see the map is not there when you're zoomed in. When you're zoomed way out, well, now it's gone. You're using, this is not Google Maps, in other words. This is some mapping technology that is not working in the rest of the world, at least in the United States. If I go in here, and this was a fun little track I did, there's the track itself. I can move it around, and it should be mapped against a real map. This is roads. This is actually an airport. And this is strange. Okay, I think it's trying to update itself. This is the level of detail that the map has for you, that you can zoom in China. Okay, but this map isn't supported outside of China. So the app is great if they would incorporate Google Maps or some other maps that are universal. This is not ready for the international market in terms of the app itself. However, I did want to show you. Oh no, come back. Double backing there. I wanted to show you that one we were playing with. Where did it go? There we are, that one there. And you can't touch the map, you got to touch above. Okay, this is actually driving around in a car in bicycle mode. And if I zoom it out, you see that if you had the map background where the white's coming in, if that were the real map, it would show you your area inside your city, wherever you are, all the way out until you're at a practically global view. And you could zoom, of course, way in. So it's functioning properly, and it's collecting all of that data. This, like I said, was at an airport, and that's where you circle around. The airplanes are over here, and I had to go pick somebody up at the airport. So I came in, I went around 2 or 3 times. I went over there and parked. I came back, went around, and then left. Great level of detail, smooth curves, so you know that it's collecting the latitude, longitude, and time information in the watch, holding it there, and sending it back to this app. I tell you that because it means this has some potential. The data that you're seeing that's transferred here into the app, all of this should be in digital form available, that if they enhance this app so you could export it to Fitbit or Stavia or one of the other apps, you could take your whole track information offline, along with, we hope, all the meaningful data in terms of heart rate at that same location and so forth. But it's not yet. But the data's there. And I was alluding to the fact that it wasn't. And that's why I really wanted to clarify that. Although you can't see the display very well, it has onboard GPS and it is collecting that data. Now, what you do see is kind of a summary. Oh, something else is vibrating. You're seeing the kilometers per hour average, I guess, and the total distance traveled. And, of course, calories burned and laps, if you were doing some sort of laps, for bicycling or running, another bicycling, hiking, number of steps, calories burned. But there's not a lot more data. When you tap on this, you just go to the map. And I'm sad to say I'm not seeing, and I don't know how to get more of the data that you actually would see on the watch when that event is happening to be able to be displayed or exported from here. So since this is the app of choice that apparently we're going to be using, the H Plus watch, let me show you a little bit. I had some great data on here yesterday, and it's not on the screen today because this is today's information. I've hardly used it at all. This is the number of steps. This is the heart rate. Now, this is interesting. I didn't wear the watch last night. It doesn't do sleep time either, it doesn't look like. But nonetheless, I had it in the always collect heart rate mode, and it was turning green and going off, in the evening before I went to bed. Along about midnight, it started the new day, and this is my heart rate measurement of thin air. I've got great thin air that has a nice variable heart rate that goes from way down there to way up there, and it's taking actual readings of nothing but darkness. Boom. I think that's all I'm going to say about that. 1 + 1 = ooh. Right now, I'm getting a 78 beat per minute, and I had an average of 91 reading thin air. I wonder what it'll read under an eclipse. That could be interesting. So, that's your heart rate. That's your distance, your steps walked versus time in a particular day. Yeah, I'm going to go there. Not yet, though. And here's the settings. So I've got it binded to the thing. It's auto sync, and that's all you can do. And we ran through this. We haven't run through this one, but the other app was similar. You can set alarm clock on it. You can turn on the sedentary notifications and when you want it to start and stop, so it'll vibrate, tell you to get up. You can change from 12 to 24-hour time if you want to. And it should, well, it's morning, so you're not going to see it, but it should instantly, and it does, change the time. If you can see it, can you guys see it? It's actually on, full brightness. The units you can change, although it doesn't seem to do much across the board, but you can change it imperial or metric. And then the social notice where you can turn on the social notifications you'd like. Here's the all-day heart rate. The screensaver time I set for 15 seconds before it will go out. Oh, can you twist it and light it up? No, you can't. There's no setting for that. There's no way to do it. So if you want to try to see it, you have to press a button. And it's always smart to press the bottom button because that's the back button that will toggle you between time and your overall settings area, back and forth like that, right? Which also means when it turns on, you don't want to, when you're out getting ready to do an activity, you don't want to mess with this too much because you might be in this mode, and when you press that, you're not going to go into starting your workout. And if you can't see the screen, you may not know that. So starting from a off screen, you have to tap the top, oh no, it's still in that mode. Okay, oh, this is awful. You got to get it back to time. You got to make sure it's in the time display before you go out. Otherwise, you're going to be all messed up in your buttons. Screensaver time, you can erase the data, check the device firmware and the app version, and all of that is happening there. And now, notice it doesn't say user data anymore. It's changed to say exercise. Only when you launch the app the first time did it say user information, but there is no such tab. Not a problem if you don't want to install the other H Plus Fitness app and set all your parameters there. You can walk through it on the watch, and we showed you how to do that, to set your age and your height and your weight and all of those things directly in the watch. So you can get by with just using the H Plus Watch app, with the exception that it tends to crash. Now we're going to go into the areas where it might crash. Yesterday's data. Okay, this time it's working. Sometimes it crashes. So yesterday I got 34.8% of my 8,000 steps completed, and it gives you a little discussion about that. I have a sleep report that I had light sleep and deep sleep, but I didn't wear it. And it tells us all about that. So it's collecting heart rate and monitoring my sleep sitting on the nightstand and giving me data that could almost be believable. That's yesterday. And it didn't crash. That's interesting. The data summary, notice this is today. When you go into data summary, it crashes. Sometimes. Let's try it one more time. Bring it back up. Data summary. There we go. So here's weeks, months, and years for steps, distance traveled, inactive calories, and active calories. No idea how it's computing those. And then sleep time, your deep sleep, and your average heart rate for yesterday, Sunday. That's the data point. And this is Monday, today, because it was last night that I supposedly slept and got my 25 units of deep sleep, which was on the nightstand, and so forth. So if I did this for several days, you would see the summary of data for the week by day, or the month. Here's when I played with it before. Initially, when we did the last review, all of that information was in here. It wasn't displayed in this app, of course, but it stayed on the watch, and then when it synced, it brought in the stuff from the last review, and now what I'm doing here, which is kind of cool. And then years. And it's just doing the month of August right now, because that's the only month that I have data on. And this time, it didn't crash. Okay, so that's the app. The total distance, total steps, and total calories of the day show up there. The real-time heart rate, notice now it's all shifted around to the straight line. I really don't know what it's doing. And then the settings we've gone through, and then user info is really exercise, and that's where you have the basic information along with your actual track, but you cannot access that data and export it yet. If anybody, please, knows another app that this might sync with that can allow us to take that extracted track data and do something with it, see it, use it, massage it, analyze it, please let us know. In the meantime, as we said before, when you are here and you go here and we look at any of your sports, of which I had running and hiking and bicycling, and I go in here and I look at the log, it's showing me information, but only about the last thing that I did. It doesn't give me any way to go to like 3. If I did 3 runs during a day, I could only see the most recent one. And what I'm showing here is basically nothing because it ticked over for today, so all of my yesterday stuff is gone. That's where you set your goals. And let's go down to biking. That's where I did a lot of them because I was riding in the car and I was going to check the speed with the GPS. Then again, it's been zeroed out. So you got to look at what you did right after you did it on a watch that doesn't light up very well in even normal room light, and write it down somewhere, because when it's transferred over here, you're only going to get basic information if you're lucky if you happen to be using the proper H Plus watch app to interface with your S908 GPS Sport Band. Okay, now that I've bashed it a lot, let me tell you, it is still pretty incredible to have an onboard GPS module that can capture your track data that you can use creatively to monitor different sports, including hiking, which gives you differential altitude, and have that data available and transferable to a phone, and from there to whoever knows where, if there's an associated app that can be identified that lets you do that. The data's in here, it's stuck in here, and these things are a little lame and behind the scenes in bringing it out. But it's not all that expensive. It's something you could get started with. It's definitely waterproof, good band, breathable band. The real-time heart rate collects data on your arm, and maybe in other ways as well. I think it's relatively accurate when it's on your arm, but I can't testify to that because I really haven't done a thorough analysis. The variability seemed high when you look at the graph of it bouncing up and down, 106 down to 72, down to 84, normally, if you've got a heart rate, it's more or less consistent. It may go up slowly and down slowly as you exercise, but it doesn't radically jump all over the place. Blood pressure can do that, but heart rate pulse is usually a little more regular. Not what we're seeing with the results from this when you look at it on the app. But it does have the little green diode, so you can light up your keyhole at night if you need to shine a light to get your key in, right from your wrist. You're not going to do it from the, the display, though. Oh, I'm so bad. All right, you've been watching Smartwatch Ticks. Sorry to have to bring this up again. Last time I'm going to talk about this, I'm sure. But I did want you to know that, yes, if you use the H+, I think I just popped the battery out of it. If you use the H+ watch app, you can tether this thing, and you can see your little squiggly lines and be happy. We'll see you again soon. Thanks for subscribing and bearing with us on this one.